Welcome to today's NASCAR Cup Series live commentary coverage. A little fast Friday action for you all as we have two practice sessions for the NASCAR Cup Series, both back to back, and both all going to be taking place on this stream. 3 consecutive days of NASCAR in Mexico City coverage, with the first ever NASCAR Cup Series race being held here, and the return of the NASCAR Xfinity Series this weekend as well. That race will be taking place tomorrow, and they will have their first practice session in the morning. But as far as today goes, just strictly Cup Series on the racetrack. 2 full practice sessions coming your way. Usually we only see one 25-minute group practice where they'll split the field in half. One group will go out for 25 minutes, the next group will go out for 25 minutes. But because this is a new circuit to the Cup Series, we will have a full practice session, as we have done with any new tracks over the last couple of years since NASCAR has done this revised format of practice and qualifying. So qualifying will be taking place tomorrow afternoon before the Xfinity race per usual. But as far as today goes, simple practice. Back to usual form when it comes to the full lengths. And again, not one, but 2 sessions in this group. I do have to pull the raw feed up real quick because I did not have that on screen at the moment. So let me do that. I appreciate everybody tuning in here. If you're just getting off of work for the week, I was going to say, or just getting out of school, but it's not school year time anymore for a lot of you here in the U.S. So appreciate you tuning in per usual. First live commentary stream since last Saturday. I was at Michigan for the NASCAR Cup race last weekend. If you haven't checked out the race highlight videos from the grandstands for last week's Cup race at Michigan, definitely be sure to do so. I don't think a lot of people were informed of that, so definitely be sure to check that out on the channel if you haven't. And as far as today's stream goes, as soon as I pull the chat up, I'll give the usual shout outs to those of you that are watching. Let's see here. Bam Hall, JoJo, Marcus Villarreal, welcome into the stream. I think I'm going to take Shane Van Gisbergen for the win this weekend, but I have to wait to see how practice and qualifying goes first before I give my final prediction for who I think is going to win. I have a good feeling about SVG though, with this being a new road course. Wade, welcome to the stream. Here for a bit. There you go. Yeah, I saw you had a comment earlier that you had to get out of here at 5. Appreciate you tuning in, though. Pick the win at Mexico. I see a Christopher Bell pick to sweep the weekend. Yeah, he is running both the Xfinity and Cup races this weekend. There's a few drivers running both races this weekend in particular. Cool to see Daniel Suarez pulling double duty this weekend. I believe he's driving the 9 for Junior Motorsports for tomorrow's Xfinity race. I think it's just going to be awesome to see all weekend the love he gets from the fans having a home track. The only Mexican-born driver in the NASCAR Cup Series ranks. And I'll tell you what, if he takes the lead at any point in time during Sunday's race, it's going to feel like, Dale Jr. taking the lead at Talladega in the mid-2000s as far as that place just rocking to their feet. That will definitely be a moment that I'm sure a lot of fans would probably hope happens at some point throughout the course of the race, because it's just going to make for an awesome storytelling moment, not only for the race itself, but just for, looking back at this date, with it being the first for the Cup Series. Mike H., welcome to the stream. It'd be shocking if he, but yeah, if he won, we'll see how he does in the Xfinity race. I know he hasn't ran in the Xfinity Series for a select bit of time, but just having that extra track time, I think, really helps, even if the Xfinity cars and the Cup cars are much different from one series to the next nowadays compared to what they used to be for the longest time. And I'll let you listen in to the Amazon Prime video coverage as well during the course of these 2 practice sessions. We'll have some NASCAR Sporkle trivia sprinkled in there because there will be a break period, I'm sure, between both sessions as well. So I'll turn it to the Amazon Prime Video guys for right now. As usual, Adam Alexander, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Steve Letarte in the booth. 4th consecutive week there. And 3 days of NASCAR Cup coverage right here on KRC.
So he expects no less this weekend, Tim. Well, Trevor, it's been a week of recovering for Patrick Bowman after last week. He took a very hard hit. In fact, at the Care Center last weekend, he told us it was one of the hardest hits he's ever taken in his career. Now, he did tell me this morning when I checked in with him, he has all the resources at his disposal over at Hendrick to make sure he is healthy for this weekend's race. He's been cleared to race. In fact, he did the track talk earlier today. The goal is to get a lot of laps, though, because of that significant back pain he had. In fact, could not do any of that sit work. They want to see what the pain threshold is during these laps, and we have Anthony Alfredo, NASCAR Xfinity Series, stand by back at 48 caller in case Alex needs to get out. The goal, Marty, is for him to run this entire practice.
Yeah, congratulations to Denny Hamlin and his fiancee Jordan Fish on the birth of their son on Wednesday. And because he wanted to welcome his son home, Denny Hamlin has decided to skip the Mexico race here on the streets of Mexico City. And so now he is going to have Ryan Truex in the 11 car this weekend. Hamlin did apply for and was granted a waiver by NASCAR, so he'll beat all the playoff points. So Ryan Truex in the 11 this weekend. And they had to make several changes. Of course, the team was completely prepared for him to be in the car the last 3 weeks, but they did not bring Truex's seat here to Mexico City, so they had to work on the seat a little bit. Also, Hamlin does not normally run at short tracks and road courses a rear view camera. Ryan Truex wanted a rear view camera, so they got that installed this morning as well. So we'll see how Ryan Truex does the 11 car after winning the race last weekend at Michigan.
Watch around Truex on board. The roof going down into turn one, hearing the downshift, the braking zone heavy.
Patrick Chadley, welcome to the stream. Also, I don't know if I shouted you out yet.
3, 4, 5 wide passing going into that braking zone. Carrying that right front tire a little bit, coming out of turn 3 down this front straight or down this straightaway, headed toward turn 4. I'll be interested if anybody can put together a run to challenge someone into this braking zone. It's a bit of a fast sweeper, so the braking isn't really, it's not a real like a hard braking zone. You slow the car down a little bit, but being able to get to the inside and actually make a pass there might be tough. And you see right there, as cars go through this, as we're going to talk about this a lot today, guys, there'll be some yellow stripes off the course a little bit through those turns. That is the only area on the racetrack where there are track limits. Tire barriers will do their job to try to keep the race car drivers on the track through the rest of the course. You know, Andrew Dale, you said it on the track map. Slowest and the lowest RPM. So they are crawling right there. And I think that lack of pace actually is going to give these fans a great show because it's going to encourage these drivers to lean on each other. Yeah, and you see them able to use a lot of the racetrack getaway kind of off of the curve a little bit to be able to put themselves in a great position to accelerate out of those final few corners. You got to get through those last few series of corners really good to put yourself in any position to do some passing right here in this braking zone into turn 1. That's going to be the main passing source for all of the teams. So if you're struggling coming through those final few corners, you got to work on that today.
9 Chase Elliott driving around the 11 Ryan Truex. Elliott, a driver that is always good on the road, but is not near as good in the next gen car.
Got a couple of cars.
He was driving in the
Suarez went around
of the stock car at NASCAR's top level, and 7 wins.
Suarez and Nemechek.
When you talk about road course victories in Cup.
We've got a couple of cars backwards here in turn 4. This is it's kind of what we talked about. I'm not sure exactly what happened there with Suarez, and let's take a look. John Hunter Nemechek, it looked like Suarez and John Hunter Nemechek maybe had an issue. So we're out on board with Suarez. Oh, so Suarez got too far into that area right there. That part of the track has actually been shortened up from what we used to run here years ago. So the turnoff into turn 4 is a little bit earlier. I'm not sure he was quite ready for that. Anticipating maybe going further into the old portion of the racetrack. So he used to go straight through there and a little bit further to another additional similar bend that you see right here. Now he's shortened this course up since we last ran here, maybe since Daniels ran here. This is exiting onto the front straightaway. I think it'll be a fun little part of the racetrack as they sweep really wide around pit entry. Maybe some drivers will be able to turn really low and get up underneath each other and race side to side down the front straightaway and argue for position.
or downshifts. So down to first gear. That's kind of what I'm, we talk about learning the track. These are all the small details I'm excited to see is just what gear they're running in each corner, how far they're downshifting, the runoff. So now he's heading back to that turn 4. We saw him have that issue, the right-hander.
His teammate, Ross Chastain, Daniel's teammate, Ross Chastain, said, I will find the track limits and I might spend some time off track in practice because I want to know just how far I can go as I figure out what kind of plan I need to put together for Sunday.
That's those yellow lines right there. You can get all the way up against those yellow lines before NASCAR is going to call an issue, track limit there, and you see the 47 pushing the limit, going a little bit too far. I think you have to do that. I agree with that theory and that idea of really finding out how far you can really go into all the braking zones. That's where you're going to find the most time on any of these road course racetracks. It is in that braking zone. So push the car beyond its limits.
And the good news here is that there are those opportunities to escape. You go to Watkins Glen, some other tracks back then, maybe they were gravel filled or grass or rumble strips. But here, there is some runoff at the end of those braking zones. So there's no reason not to push them.
Let's get out of Marty.
Adam, day one at a new track for NASCAR, and of course, there's going to be some learning curves here. And right now, one of them are some technical issues going on with the race teams. So, Steve, none of the teams have the use of SMT. So, is that a bigger issue for you as a crew chief or your driver, Dale Jr.?
So SMT is basically, just your car's location around the racetrack and your driver inputs, right? Throttle, brake, your gear positioning, a bunch of information. It's a great question, Marty, because I would think as a driver, if you're pretty good, it's a bigger issue for the team because I want to try to make the car better. If you're way off, Dale, I would think having SMT, would you like to be able to kind of take a peek at what another driver is doing through a different section?
It's amazing for tracks like this, Marty, when we're coming to the road course, and especially a road course for the first time. Somebody's going to go out there and really adapt to this quickly. They're going to find things that maybe it might take you several trips to this racetrack to discover. And so if you can look at what other drivers are doing and know exactly, hey, I'm in the wrong gear in this corner, or I'm trying, or so somebody's found a way to actually, shorten the course a little bit or trim a little bit here and there. That's a great opportunity for these drivers to really accelerate their learning curve over the next couple of days. We saw some drivers having some issues with the braking zones, pushing their cars a little bit too much. The 2-car of Austin Cindric has apparently found some limits as well to his car's ability. So we got a little replay of some challenges that he's ran into early in this race. And this is going into that same turn 4. So, all right. So this is already something we're going to identify as a very challenging part of the course. I would not have anticipated turn 4, the braking zone to turn 4 to be a problem. It looks like it's going to be an issue. Guys are having a hard time getting their cars slowed down. Maybe the braking performance or the balance of the brakes needs to be shifted for that particular corner. Oh, look at that. Oh my gosh, the launch at you. Noah Gragson slaps the wall with the left rear. Pretty hard.
Yeah, it seemed like it was Haley. He got the backhand light, and then there was a checkup, and Noah just had to really get on the brakes heavier than he wanted.
Seems like something he's already blew the left front tire out trying to get back to the pits. Probably locked that up earlier in the lap. My question, I guess, Steve, is I'm a bit surprised to see some of these guys so tail happy in the braking zone. That's the problem into turn 4. Starting to lock up rear brakes, getting into turn 4. We're also seeing that they're into turn 11.
Well, so we talk about what's different here in Mexico City. The glaring thing is the elevation. Talk a lot about what it does to the driver. Well, remember, what it does to the car is reduce its aerodynamic effect. It has less drag. It goes through the air easier. It creates less power because the engine is kind of like you running at high elevation, right? Starved for oxygen. But it is making a dramatic amount less downforce. Even with this simple diffuser, we have lost 25% of the downforce. So that's really my question, Dale, right? I believe this is a downforce drift thing because we haven't seen rear grip be an issue at all in braking in this car. They sail these things down into the corner like we can't believe it every other road course, but then all of a sudden, these cars are super uncomfortable braking. I equate it to the elevation of the downforce loss.
Well, that's going to make all this 51 here. Kind of where's is spun around right at the entrance to all the way to pit road, so he needs to be careful not to pull out front of people here. But so we're seeing issues in the braking zone of turn 4. We're seeing a little issue in the braking zone into turn 11. Cars maybe needing to shift their braking bias a little bit toward the front. At least we've seen drivers actually move that braking bias all the way around the lap, all race long, shifting that braking bias for what they need for each individual corner.
see the damage to the fourth. Noah Gregson is teaming. The 34 of Todd Gilliland also had a little bit of a moment right here. This is exiting the stadium. Whew. It'll get your attention right there. Then just loose. Yeah, loose. Man, that thing is sideways.
I'll tell you what, though, you want a sleeper? I mean, Todd Gilliland,
Yeah.
someone to watch.
Here's where and what happened to him. Yeah, it just gets so this is awesome, man. I think this is good to see this track challenging the drivers. They're gonna be fighting for grip. This is all on relatively good tires. Imagine what this is gonna be like lap 30 on tires, how slick this racetrack's gonna be.
But you mentioned tires. I love the fact that as they're learning the racetrack, they've actually leveled off. Fast laps are 3, 2, 3, 4, depending on the car, even though they run 5 or 6 laps. So, Trevor, that tells me that this Goodyear tire, you know, it is starting to lose grip like we've seen at other road courses. I think it's going to make for an exciting race.
How about it, Trevor?
Yeah, absolutely, guys. We've seen a couple tire issues with the 4 car walking up the left front and getting into the wall. But then we just saw a right rear go down on the 51 car. He's telling the crew he doesn't even know if he can make it back in. Tell the officials, see if he can get a tow in.
Oh,
That is pretty heavy wheeled.
I agree there.
You know, we were talking to Drew Blickensturfer, who is crew chief for Noah Gregson. He said, we've had speed. We just have been involved in some incidents and really have not been able to show off our capabilities. And one of his top 10 runs this year did come earlier this season at Circuit of the Americas. 51 has stopped. 37 minutes to go. Practice number 1, Briscoe, top of the list.
all right. We'll go through the full leaderboard for how practice has shaped up so far. We're only about 12 minutes in out of 50. Chase Briscoe has so far set the fastest time in our first 50-minute block of practice. Again, 2 50-minute practice sessions for this afternoon. 6 laps have been ran by Briscoe, his fastest a 94.136 and an average speed of 92.546 miles per hour. Austin Cindric is second to that of Briscoe, Ty Gibbs third, Chris Buescher fourth, and Joey Logano rounding out our top 5 currently. Ross Chastain at 6th, Josh Berry 7th, Daniel Suarez 8th, Todd Gilliland 9th, and Michael McDowell 10th. 11th for Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson in 12th, Carson Hocevar 13th, Tyler Reddick 14th, Christopher Bell 15th, Brad Keselowski 16th, Riley Herbst 17th, Chase Elliott 18th, Noah Gragson 19th, and Ryan Blaney 20th. William Byron 21st, Cole Custer 22nd, Zane Smith 23rd, Eric Jones 24th, Ryan Preece 25th, Bubba Walls 26th, Alex Bowman 27th, AJ Allmendinger surprisingly back at 28th, Justin Haley 29th, and Jonathan Nemechek is 30th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 31st, then Austin Dillon 32nd, Cody Ware 33rd, Ty Dillon 34th, Ryan Truex 35th, taking over for Denny Hamlin this week, and then Catherine Legg 36th. Shane Van Gisbergen has not made a lap yet in practice, so that's why he scored at 37th currently. I would assume he's going to be somewhere towards the top of the leaderboard when he does get on track. His teammate Ross Chastain is in 6th and Daniel Suarez in 8th, so that's promising already. And we know how good SVG is on road courses as well. Really, when you look at the top 5 to top 10 drivers, these are all drivers who have had success in one way, shape, or form on road courses. Chase Briscoe's had some good runs on the Indianapolis road course, which might be the most, at least with certain turns on this racetrack, similar to that of this track here in Mexico City. Austin Cindric was great in the Xfinity Series level on road courses, hasn't won a cup race yet on a road course. Same for Ty Gibbs, won a bunch of races on road courses in the Xfinity. Chris Buescher. Buescher hasn't gotten a cup win on a road course, but these are guys that get good, consistent finishes on road courses that are all towards the top, despite not having a win to show for it yet. Kyle Busch in 11th. He ran very well at COTA earlier this season, led the most laps in that race, so I was looking to maybe see some speed out of him. Not surprised to see Michael McDowell up in the top 10, won at Indianapolis with the next-gen car before. He should be quick this weekend, especially with how good Spire Motorsports has been when it comes to just raw speed and loading with good speed so far this year.
And for practice, first of 2 sessions for the Cup Series, getting ready for the big race here on Sunday in Mexico City. Caution is out for the 77 of Carson Hocevar.
Yeah, Hocevar was backwards.
A little bit of damage to the back of his race car.
Exiting turn 11, and there's a little bit of damage to the back.
Yeah, to be honest with you, we're gonna go look at it.
Yeah, the body didn't look like it was moved, but there was some, some black damage, I guess, to the wrap. Let's take a look at. He just gets into turn 11 and just kind of gets loose. Either got on the curve or whatever, but just charging too hard. And he must have just got into that barrier as he backed across the racetrack onto the runoff.
Well, and I agree right there with the assessment. Luke Lambert, the crew chief, that's who you heard on the radio. I'm not saying there's not some work we can't do and practice is over, but let's not waste track time. This is a brand new facility. We got to figure it out. Not enough damage there to hurt the performance of the car. Just send it back out to make some more laps.
Under caution, so we'll step aside one more time. More practice when we come back to Mexico City. It's the NASCAR on Prime.
All right, so under caution for the first time today, spin in turn 11 for Carson Hocevar, bringing out the yellow, backed it up against the barrier, right, the outside of the racetrack or out of the racing line. So AMR safety team or safety officials around the track are currently replacing those barriers. Not a lot of damage though for Hocevar. I would like to think he should be able to continue on. You'd hate to have an incident take you out of practice time on a new racetrack, new road course for what would be 2 50-minute sessions. Now, the good thing is, I guess if you were to be taken out in this first session, they could unload the backup car, and you're going to have a full another 50 minutes afterwards. But again, Hocevar's car is not necessarily junk by any means. 13th is where he stands as of right now on the timesheet. Chase Briscoe has ran for 8 laps. Still waiting to see Shane Van Gisbergen on the racetrack and what kind of lap times he'll be able to put together in that number 88 Trackhouse Racing Chevrolet. I gotta say though, these 50 minutes are going by very quickly. You're not going to hear a lot of talking from me in particular on today's live stream. Really trying to get a gist of what these drivers are dealing with on the handling side of things, and I can't do the justice to that, which is why for most weeks when we do the practice and qualifying streams I don't necessarily do as much commentary for like I would during the races or during qualifying. Qualifying again will be tomorrow. It is not after practice today like it usually would be. That is because we have 2 50-minute practice sessions for the Cup Series, and I believe same for the Xfinity Series tomorrow morning when they kickstart things off. Our first stream tomorrow won't be until Cup qualifying begins at about 2 p.m. Eastern, and the Xfinity race will be at 4:30 p.m. Eastern with our Cup race coverage on Sunday, also beginning at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. I did put up the community tab schedule for this weekend, so you can check all the start times for the live streams. Both of these practice sessions that are back-to-back will be right here on the channel, and there's going to be about a 20-minute to a 30-minute break in between practice sessions, which is when we'll do our NASCAR Sporkle trivia for this evening.
19 years old. That happened in the 1961 Italian Grand Prix, and it held up until 1980. And what a facility we have here, and a lot of excitement in the air for NASCAR racing on Sunday. Here's Ryan Blaney on track. Let's go to Marty.
Yeah, Blaney flashes by here on the front stretch at Mexico City. So,
Chastain's got a little wall scuffing.
For Trackhouse Racing, Ross Chastain with a little scuff with the wall. So he, just like his other teammates, only 5 crew members working on this car today during this practice session. So certainly working with more than a skeleton crew. One of the missing crew members is Brandon McReynolds. He is a spotter for Ross Chastain. So last second, they had to get the man on the very far left.
Connor Zillage is spotting for Chastain right now.
NASCAR Xfinity Series win. He's a development driver for Trackhouse Racing and drives for you, Dale Jr. in the Xfinity Series full time. I asked him before he went out, I said, are you going to be any good at spotting? He said, I don't know. I've never done it. So probably not. So everyone doing everything they can at Trackhouse to pitch in today, Kim.
Well, Marty, let's talk spotters. You see Connor Zillage there filling in for Brandon McReynolds. He is in the turn 15 section of the racetrack. So that's where they can see the entry and restart zone as well as entry onto pit road. That's where spotters are required to be. Now,
I love the layout at that area of the racetrack.
They'll be in turn 15, in turn 1, where they can see one of the biggest passing zones, and then over in like 8, 9, where that choose is going to be. Now, when I talked with them,
the way they race into the grandstands with the opening that they have there is so cool. Not to mention that they have a bunch of picnic tables set up alongside both of the, basically on like the concourse or underneath area of where the grandstands are. So get a nice picnic table to eat your concession stand food while you watch some racing up close.
In that section for Sunday's race.
I asked the teams, how many spotters do you have for Sunday? They said not enough.
Not enough.
And that really plays well off of what Ken's talking about there.
Yeah, a lot of this racetrack is just hidden from view. No matter where you might put a spotter, what grandstand they may be in, they're only going to see that very specific area of the racetrack. And you wouldn't want to come up on a high-speed section like the S's on the back of the racetrack, turns 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and the car sitting there way in the the middle of the racetrack backwards without some sort of a heads up. So yeah, the drivers will probably work with the spotters during this practice. Hey, what can you see? When can you not see me? Well, that's concerning for me. I need somebody to be able to see me at this part of the racetrack or see what's happening there. You don't want to drive up on top second, not be able to avoid it. There you see drivers using those S's getting all over the curves there. These curves have been cut down since we were here with the Xfinity Series years ago. You would never get near these curves back in the 2000s because they were so tall. There's no rules about using the runoff as much as you want. There's no track limits on corner exit. You can see drivers right here, they'll go way wide, possibly out past the curving there. And here comes this really tough new part of the racetrack. We didn't run this back in the 2000s. They actually went around the stadium, but now they have this little area here. It's really slow, really technical, really tough. And your car, Steve, drives all over these curves. If you can help me feel less of that, I want the car not to get upset. I don't need the rear tires kind of hopping and bouncing across those curves. I need them on the racetrack so I can start to apply throttle and accelerate.
Yeah, this is a track where compromise is going to happen because I'm going to want the car set away for here when it's smooth and under braking and all that. But I can't eliminate those curves as an opportunity for my drivers and have them available for the driver because they just improve the lane so much. I mean, look right here. They just drive straight over. And to the left there, that triangle, that banner right there, that's a tire pack. That's a tire pack as well. They have those in those two corners to enforce the track limits, but they're lower speed corners. They don't have those at the S just because they would be dangerous at the speed of the S's to have those tires out there for the drivers to hit. As you see right here, the 88, a lot of focus on SVG. This is one of the tracks where he just didn't have a whole lot of time to travel low, so he didn't get to do the track walk this morning. He's figuring out as he goes. He's currently only 3 laps into practice.
There are a lot of competitors that would say we should do that every time we go to a road course for him to level the playing field. He's so good at this style of racing. In fact, all 3 Trackhouse Chevrolets right now, top 10 on the speed charts.
I feel like he's putting down a heater right now. It almost looks like he's overdriving the car.
Ever start on the streets of Chicago. He's shown some speed lately. Oval race. So you feel like he's getting his arms around the car, getting confident, getting comfortable, and got to believe it translates when he comes to a place that no doubt should fit into his wheelhouse doing it on a road.
It was crazy. Went to Chicago. Rain kind of messed the weekend up, so we didn't get a lot of track time. But as the race progressed, this driver right here just instantly started finding lanes and passing zones that I didn't naturally see, right? He just sees the racetrack so differently. And you have to just look at the upcoming schedule. Right, we have Sonoma, we have Chicago, we have here, right? There's so many road courses coming up that SVG has to be feeling really good about where he is in this part of the season.
See the drivers that have won recently when we visit new venues on the road. Trevor?
Yeah, talking with Shane Van Ginsberg, and I asked him about it because I said, hey, you're running way better on ovals. Does any of that at all translate back to road courses? And he said, Trevor, this is like different sports. I cannot tell you how different it is to adapt to these ovals. The way that you brake, I even use my feet different in the car. Everything about it is totally different. So I just got to flip the switch and go back to what I used to do.
Sometimes you just got to go back to what you're comfortable with, right? Trying to learn. That's kind of why everybody says, hey, what's SVG do on the road course? Try to copy him. I'm like, it's one thing to see what he's doing. It's not like to try to get your hands and feet to do it.
We just watched SVG go through a certain particular part of the racetrack back in turns 5, 6, and 7. And right there on the inside, this yellow painted line. We've heard track limits. Mentioned in CODA and other racetracks. This is the only area right here where we're really going to be focusing on that on Sunday. The drivers can go all the way up against that yellow line right there. We see
Like that.
Yep, we see this. And even on this final corner, they can use a little bit more, be more aggressive. It'll be interesting to see. A lot of the drivers can cut a little bit of time by getting over there against that yellow line on both of these S's, really just straightening out this portion of the racetrack and really cut some time and acceleration. So it'll be interesting to see. But NASCAR is going to be keeping an eye on this. If you touch that yellow line, or if you get on top of that yellow line with the tire, that is considered infringing on the track limits, and there will be a penalty. There's a bit of a joker lane later on in the lap, just beyond this, that you can pull over and stop, much like we had at Coda. I think Bubba Wallace had to go into that joker lane at Coda and stop. And so that's what the drivers have asked for. Okay, we have track limits in some racetracks. We can't get away from having that. We know that's going to be part of the deal. But we don't want to have to go down pit road and do a pass through. That's too big of a penalty for such a small gain if I were to infringe on the track limit here. So they've got the joker lane. Drivers in NASCAR have collaborated to come up with a really good solution that I think all of us can wrap our brains around.
Chase Briscoe, top of the board. Practice
Still.
so good lately in qualifying. 3 consecutive poles. And you know what? He's a guy that can jump up and grab you focus too.
That's true. Looking at the racing, the NASCAR Insights from Coda, he was number 1 in passing. He was in the top 10 of all of them. Defensive, speed, restarts. He was 3rd on restarts. And so, pretty impressive, to be honest with you. You don't think about Chase Briscoe, honestly, when you think about road course racing, but he had a pretty solid, competitive car and day. And kind of slide that right front tire, a little bit of lockup right there. You're not going to be able to get away with that too much. If you flat spot that tire, it becomes difficult for it to have turn and grip. We watch him go through this portion of the racetrack using up all of the track limit there.
It's interesting. I know the track is new, but there has been more slipping and sliding under braking than I can remember. So I just fast forward to tomorrow or Sunday specifically when spots start to be contested.
Yeah.
I mean, they're having a hard time, judging the limit.
Yeah, by themselves.
Yeah. So, wait until they're in here trying to play a little game of chicken on who's going to slow down first.
And another thing that you talked about, Steve, is the lack of density in the air and downforce and the drag and all the things that they're without. When you put these cars in traffic, that's even more that strips away from their ability to brake in the braking zones and so forth. So right now we're out there, we're practicing, we got room, we got gaps, we got all the cars are really getting all the advantage of the downforce braking zone. You're going to strip away a ton more downforce and a ton more ability to get into that braking zone.
So over 7,000 feet of altitude, what does that mean? Well, it does hurt the overall horsepower of the engine, but it reduces the downforce, which is the grip. It reduces the drag, which lets it go faster in a straight line, and it has worse cooling for the engine and the brakes. So I said earlier in the week, I'm like, really, here's the thing. It does everything you want it to do worse except for go fast in a straight line. So that makes the end of each straightaway a much bigger issue for the drivers. And when you get out there together, to your point now, in a pack, it's going to be really difficult.
Let's go to 5-lap average here. When you look at our pylon, Van Gisbergen best of the bunch. A couple of Gibbs drivers behind him. Ty Gibbs, Briscoe, Riley Herbst is up there. Kyle Larson, I don't know what this tells us, but ultimately, Steve, especially in the final stage on Sunday, if you're going to win this race, you got to take care of those tires, be good on the long haul.
That and who makes mistakes? These guys to be going on a 5-lap average tells me they don't have a mistake in that run. Trevor.
Yeah, another name we would expect to see in that top 5 on the board is AJ Allmendinger. Keep in mind, he's run 2 races here in Champ Car, finishing 2nd and 3rd, but today he is really struggling with his car. Listen to this audio.
I don't know, man. I don't say this stuff right now. I just way out there like terrible, but like that last.
Yeah, AJ says hacking away out there. He went and ran another lap, jumped up inside the top 20 with that final lap and said, Trent, that's all I've got, man. We got to work on this thing.
That's frustrating for, when you have someone like AJ behind the wheel and he doesn't have confidence. That's the biggest issue. This guy has so much talent, as Trevor just said, right? He's driven so many things and won with them and had success. That you don't have to be the best car, but you have to find something in this setup that he can lean on, brake with. It has to have confidence.
You talk about drivers and the points and the cut line and all those conversations that will come up. And then those that could really impact that with a win, the drivers on your screen are the ones that fit that category because they're so good at this style.
Michael Dow won here in a Grand Am race back in the 2000s. I spoke to him some this week about this track, and he took me for one of the best laps. Just He talked me through every corner, off camber, curbing, whether he could use the curbing, all of these nuances. You could tell he had done a tremendous amount of homework, and his excitement level matched to come down here.
And his win in Cup on the road course came at Indianapolis. A lot of similarities when we talk about Indy and this place.
Roughly 18 minutes to go in practice number 1. We'll go through the full field leaderboard once again. There's been a little bit of movement. I've noticed a couple positions kind of changing with the lap times being picked up, left off from this opening run. I believe each of these teams gets 2 sets of tires for practice. Each of these 2 practice sessions specifically, so we might still see somebody take Briscoe's time down at the top once adjustments are made for the first time in the garage area. Briscoe's lap of a 94.136 still remains as the fastest overall by just under 200ths of a second over Austin Cindric, who sits P2. Ty Gibbs is 3rd, Chris Buescher 4th, 5th for Joey Logano. Ross Chastain rounds out these top 6 spots. SVG, who was a little later in practice before running his current 6 laps, has the fastest 5-lap average of anybody, and he's 7th overall. Josh Berry at 8th, Daniel Suarez 9th, and Todd Gilliland rounds out the top 10. Michael McDowell in 11th, Kyle Busch 12th, Kyle Larson 13th, Carson Hocevar 14th, 15th for Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell 16th, Brad Keselowski 17th, Riley Herbst in 18th, Chase Elliott 19th, and Noah Gragson 20th. Ryan Blaney 21st, William Byron 22nd, Cole Custer 23rd, Zane Smith 24th, Eric Jones 25th, Ryan Preece 26th, Bubba Wallace 27th, Alex Bowman 28th, 29th for AJ Allmendinger, Justin Haley 30th, Jonathan Nemechek 31st, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 32nd, Austin Dillon 33rd, Cody Ware 34th, Ty Dillon 35th, Ryan Truex 36th, and Catherine Legg 37th. And that 78 of Catherine Legg, by the way, is the only non-charted entry in the field this weekend. She'll be running the 78 for Live Fast Motorsports. So 37 cars on the entry list for the NASCAR Cup Series race here this weekend in Mexico City. We'll take our first break in the stream. You're listening live on KRC to full practice session coverage here for the Viva Mexico 250. And again, 250-minute practice sessions. Our first one, we still got about 15 minutes to go.
1:30 Eastern on CW, and then of course Sunday right here on the Cup Series race, first ever from Mexico City. You do not want to miss it. Here's so many full sites here in Mexico City at this particular track. One of them being the garage area. These are the Formula One garages that the Cup Series teams are using. Right beside it, pit road, obviously. Then the front stretch. And you can see the grandstand field all the way down to the final turn, coming down to where the start-finish line will be. But one of the cool things is these cars will pull literally right out of their garage, like William Byron just took onto the racetrack a moment ago. And then the crew chiefs can go right up here and stand on behind pit wall and watch their cars as they go by. I just saw Cliff Daniels do that a moment ago when Kyle Larson was on the track, and the cars go right by like SVG right there heading down the racetrack. So definitely a very cool garage area, very F1 feel, if you will, Adam, down here, because you have such a fantastic view of the front stretch. All those folks will be sitting in the grandstands on Sunday. Pretty cool here in Mexico City.
It really is awesome. Coming out of turn 15 and down this front straightaway with the stands on either side, and then the stadium portion, as we talked about, just an impressive venue, no doubt. 17 is Chris Buescher, coming off his best run of the year, second last Sunday at Michigan, in a very, very good road race.
Absolutely. 4th on the speed chart currently, and I think we all knew how good he was, and he put himself on the map without a doubt when he battled SVG at Watkins Glen a year ago in the playoffs. He wasn't in the playoffs, but that win was so impressive. He was Mr. Consistent. And then when he put that exclamation mark next to it and picked the trophy up, that's when he really stepped in front of some others.
Yeah, the next gens ran about 18 races on road courses since it came into the sport, and he had the best average finish about nearly 2 positions over the field. That is a lot.
Right there. And we just inside 10 minutes, and I think that'd be fine if we get inside 10 minutes. I want to get on some laps and see where this goes. Then we do one more thing after that.
So 12 laps on these tires. The team just saying, let them keep running inside 10 minutes. You see the clock on your upper left. They're at 14:20 right now, so they could probably run maybe 2 or 3 more laps.
What about that 17, Kim?
Yeah, you guys mentioned that road course prowess that we've seen from Chris Buescher, but when I walked in the hauler, they were confident in general, and basically they took what they had at Coda and worked off that. And they felt really good. He finished sixth there after starting really deep in the field. And that one, Routine Scott Ray said he's so good at it. So didn't matter where he qualifies at tracks, he tends to chip away slowly by lap after lap to get the track position. They expect something similar here. It was funny though, we've talked so much about altitude prep, what drivers have been doing. I asked Chris what he did. He said, I've been running stairs. And I said, what does that mean? He said, the catering here at the track is upstairs. I've been running stairs.
He's old school, isn't he?
Whoa! Got a little too far wide there.
It's easy to see why he does so good at these road courses. His laps are clean and tidy. He's getting everything he can. He's the car in a bit of a four-wheel drift on acceleration out of turns like turn 11 and so forth. But he's pushing it to the limit without really making mistakes or sliding tires. He's able to get really maximize laps. I mean, he's really pushing that car in the braking zone.
Ty Gibbs, by the way, just jumped up to second.
The top 10 overall for Gladys lap. I would say Josh would be very happy with that. He's got limited experience on road courses and not a ton of success in the road course races that he's ran in the Xfinity Series and now in the Cup Series here. So, but coming to a new track, it's a level playing field for a lot of drivers. You got to see it as an opportunity. So we were talking to Ryan Truex about us. He's a little nervous about being in this position driving that lap car, but hey, it's a level playing field. Come in here with an open mind and attitude. Apparently, the Wood Brothers, their association with Penske, has brought this 21 team and Josh a really fast race car. Well, that really helps. When that car is comfortable and it's doing things and kind of carrying you as you start to learn the racetrack, go out there and run a good lap time, gives you a lot of confidence.
Host of ours spent success at the garage, 77 back up to speed.
I had a little contact on the rear bumper. It doesn't look like any harm foul. 50th on the charts, yes.
Yeah, and let's look back the last 3 weeks they've had. You rewind to Charlotte. He had an engine go running second. Then Nashville finished second. Got into that kind of scrimmage with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. A lot of loud noise around him. He backed it up, leading 32 laps last weekend at Michigan before he had a tire go down. When I talked to crew chief Luke Lambert, Luke said, you know, we've seen so much encouragement about the potential for this team after the last 3 weeks, despite not having all of the finishes they wanted both at Charlotte and Michigan. And as we look forward to Mexico City, I kind of asked, well, where does he shake out on road course stuff? And Luke said he feels like Carson is ahead of schedule with road course stuff. Really good for the amount of experience, which is very limited, that Carson has. We saw that spin earlier, though. They came in, made some changes. Carson saying he needed stability under braking. He's a little free. He said it turns right on the brakes. So 3 laps is when he kind of loses that grip. They looked at alleviate that with some of the adjustments before they sent him back out on track.
Well, Tim, I can confirm he is still free under braking. Because that last corner right there, once again, he just has the correct counter steer on braking. The back of his car is not very confident.
You know, he was top 5 at Watkins Glen last fall. And if you have questions about Mexico City, go lean on your teammate Michael McDowell, right?
Another car that has been dominating the road courses in the last decade or so. Another team, Chase Elliott, the number 9. Right on board with that prime onboard camera. You see him going through the sequential shifting. So he's headed up to turn 4 here, down shifting. Going into the S's now. Grab the gear over those curves. Very uncomfortable, rough. Cars bouncing all over the place. Head down toward turn 11 into the stadium. Using a lot of engine braking to slow the car down. Now this really slow, tight, disciplined turn 12. Back to 13 and heading out of the stadium. 14 and 15 onto the front straightaway. Chase has won a lot of races on the road courses, but he's not really been able to find that type of success in the next gen car. Still sort of searching for what Chase needs out of the car.
His road course numbers kind of match the season. And what I mean by that is he's good, just not and he wins. Right? Like his road course in the next gen, to your point, Dale, he was so dominant in the other car. He's decent in this car at the road courses, just no wins. So that's the glaring difference because he had so many. This season's the same way. He's Mr. Consistent. His only finish, his worst finish was 20th at Atlanta, all the way back second race of the year. So he's consistent. He just, doesn't have that next step or hasn't found that next step.
I like that though. I mean, listen, they aren't where they want to be. They're not winning races, but he's getting them the finishes that they can get. And he's not making mistakes. He's not trying too hard. He's not overdoing it. He's waiting on that performance to finally come. Thought maybe last week they finally had it as he drove the car into the lead at Michigan. And looked like they had really, really good speed.
Incredible move to get to that, by the way.
Absolutely. And so he's such a smart racer, maybe one of the smarter racers in terms of just driving to the ability of the car and not making a ton of mistakes. And he is the most consistent driver. Ooh, little mistake right there. Like
Dale,
13.
commentator's curse.
Now's the time, though. 8 minutes left in practice. 3 laps, 3 sets of tires. Normally, we have these short practice. You only have 1 set. You have to be careful not to ruin a set of tires. With 3 sets for practice here, you don't want to just blast a set of tires, but better than in the race. We'll take a look at it. I think it's kind of turning and braking. Maybe a little. I don't know. It looked like he was trying to brake straight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I take that back. That's pretty straight. Pretty straight into that corner. Just that left front's light.
He reminded me of a lesson. And this is something we have to remember on Sunday. Anytime we go road racing, you can't give up on a driver because of the ebbs and flows of the strategies that get introduced. They're crash lap 1, right? Getting spun around. So it puts them immediately behind the 8 ball. But because they didn't have track position late, caution comes out, they come and get tires, and he drives all the way back through to a top 5 finish. It speaks to who he is as a driver, but it also talks about how you have to take advantage of opportunities when you go down in a race, and you're really never out of the game if you can just keep getting after it.
Alex Bowman out on the racetrack. Going to see him here this weekend after a really, really hard, vicious wreck in Michigan. Head on into the wall. Hit track 1 and 2.
Yeah, vicious impact for sure.
I'm sure he was a little sore after that crash, but he's out here now. Also having similar issues to his teammate in that turn 13 braking zone with the left front lockup. We're late in the run. A lot of laps on the tires. That is going to get easier to do. Right? Track's going to get slicker and slicker, dirtier. It's going to be harder and harder to get these cars to slow down and do what you want them to do in the braking zone. And you don't want to slap those tires, Kim.
Yeah, and Alex right now reporting lazy on the front end, loose on entry, and it was interesting. Hardy talked about the lack of SMT for these teams. A little additional lift for the Spiders. Like Harris told Alex, because we don't have SMT, you're going to have to lean a little bit heavier on Kevin Hamlin, your Spider, to get some of the trends out of the racetrack. Trevor?
Yeah, Kim, I think a driver we should all be keeping our eye on right now in Mexico City is Ty Gibbs in his 54 car. Last week, he had victory lane running his draft, it felt like. They came home third, had to save some fuel, and made it through. But Ty Gibbs, think back to 2021 when he went to Daytona for his very first Xfinity race. He won that road course race. 4 of his 12 wins in Xfinity came on road courses. Finished third at the Chicago Street Course last year. He's very adaptable, picks it up very quick, and that's going to be key this weekend.
And so the garage, they might not be a fan of my next statement, but I'm a no SMT fan. So I like it for the fans that we can show what these drivers are doing. But they're the best in the world. I would be okay if you got the driver file after the race, if you want to go back and study what somebody did to beat you on Sunday. But man, I feel like your secret sauce could be hidden for 3 days. Like, hey man, if I'm good, go figure it out. Go find a way to beat me. You can study it next week for the time to go back, but I kind of like having less data right here. Maybe that's what's helping. The 71 right here, Mikey McDowell, who's jumped to the top of the chart at a 134. Oh, and look, we talk brand new racetrack. Doing some quick math. 1 second gets you the top 30. The top 30 cars are within 1 second of one another at a nearly 2.5 mile, 15-turn road course.
One of the drivers we expect to be very competitive this weekend, Tyler Reddick, having a little issue in the braking zone in turn 1.
I'm surprised Reddick's not a little bit better on the speed chart.
That was actually turn 4, I'm sorry. We're seeing a lot of drivers challenged to make the braking zone of turn 4. This is turn 9 as well.
There was no turn to that one.
And this is the Joker lane we talked about.
He's practicing.
Yep. So he missed turn 4. or maybe he's just practicing running this joker lane. So very smart, actually.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I would have never thought that, but now you miss a turn and I'm screaming at you to go to the Joker lane and you're trying to think about a map. I'm thankful that he did it. That's a pretty good idea.
So he would only need to go to that braking zone or to that joker lane to make that stop in between those yellow lines if he goes off track limits. That if he misses turn 4, that's your own penalty. You just turn around and come back and join the racing surface. But if you exceed the track limits over here in the S's, that will be when you would need to go to that braking or that joker lane that he just showed us on the racetrack. And I mean, I find it very, I find it very interesting that he went over there and do that, but also I find it very similar to a driver trying, to come down pit road, hard charging pit entry to kind of see exactly, how hard you can actually get in there and get into pit entry before the race begins. So you just try to know everything he can know.
It's like a wide receiver doing push-ups after he drops the ball. I'm going to penalize myself.
Yeah, maybe so.
We keep talking about turn 4. Well, this is turn 1 at 4,000-foot front stretch. Kyle Busch in this 8. Get on the brakes right here, and you can just see the back of the car dancing right away. He just cannot turn right, which makes him miss the bottom. Then the tire smokes. He finally has to step on the brake pedal harder. Actually does a nice job kind of making the corner, and I got off to driver's right. I was trying to give him credit, and then he drove off the grass.
I'm surprised we've seen a few guys in the grass and they're driving right through. We've got a lot of rain, and I thought that rain really could make it challenging if you get off course, but so far it hasn't had a major impact on anyone that has left the racing surface and found the green.
Yeah. And I don't think it's such an issue for the lead car. Like if we're running the race and we have several cars in a train, the lead car going off the grass is not a big deal. What the problem is for the rest of the cars behind him, right? He's bringing all that grass and debris onto the racetrack that gets into the grill of the cars that are following him. We see that at, all kinds of road courses, especially in the Xfinity series. That's the one thing I worry about is these drivers getting off track, especially in turn 1, 2, and 3, where there is a lot of grass, getting it all in the grill of the competitors behind them.
William Byron entering the front stretch right there. That's at turn 15. To his right was pit entry, which is I'm getting his lap time. Because see, that's the other thing. That's not getting recorded on the dash. Let's see how he does down this turn 1. His front stretch is forever.
Yeah.
It really is. That look, the kink makes you think you're getting close, and you're really not.
You aren't. All right, so now you're through this 1, 2, 3 combination. Rudy Fugle on the bottom right. I was talking to Rudy about that pin stretch. I said, hey, these tires have a whole lot more grip. Do you need them at the end of the race? He said, well, how many laps are we going to run green versus yellow? I went, if I knew that, I'd have hurt you. I don't know, Rudy.
Would have retired.
Good luck. I can answer that question. But that's what he meant. He said, listen, Chase put on tires at Coda and drove all the way up to the field. He goes, they've put on tires before. They just don't get enough time to make them work.
See, it turns bottom right of your screen, making his way through the S's is William Byron. 6-time road course winner in the next gen car.
That is going to be, that 6, 7, 8, 9 is going to be very interesting in traffic. It's going to be nowhere near as simple as these guys are making it look by themselves. And this turn 11 is more of a corner than I gave it credit for. And I love this shot maker.
Yeah, the biggest problem, Steve, is when you're in traffic, you lose vision of where all the apexes are, where the curves are. And you're only guessing and following the car in front of you. And that's when it'll be really challenging for the drivers going through those S's, going through that little series of corners there in the stadium. When you're behind all these cars, you lose all of that visual. We can look how long that straightaway is.
My goodness.
It's somewhere down there.
Yeah, just keep going. It's almost there. Keep going.
In the restart zone, coming out of turn 15, we're going to have tons and tons of cars doing crazy things to try to gain a ton of track position down in turn 1. Those restarts Sunday are going to be so much fun to cover.
So we heard alternate start finish. Walk us through that, Steve.
And so basically, everyone recognizes start finish the front stretch. For practice and for qualifying, they move where the cars are timed. It's actually over between turn 10 and 11 on this back stretch. The whole idea is to reduce the number of laps. I think on the left side, here you go, right there. Alternate starts finish. So somewhere in here is the start finish line. These guys are going to qualify to and practice to. It's just to reduce laps. Like you go out qualifying, you can leave pit road, run around, trigger it, and finish it, come in. It saves one whole lap where it's coming to the front stretch. Marty?
Hey, Steve, I had to see it. I had to come to the stadium section, and I'm going to say this is one of the best views on the entire circuit the entire year. Look at what the view the fans get. Kyle Larson coming through here.
Cars are coming at him.
Grandstands, it's so cool, and there's tons of fans out here as well. Here's one thing I know, Adam. Do we have to do the next practice session? Because here's all I'm saying. There's cold beer right behind me. There's lots of fans here. The booth is right over here as well. I can bring you guys a cold beer, and we can call it a day if you guys want. I mean,
Are those mutually exclusive?
up to you.
I mean, we
No, I
can't-
can bring
can't
you
do
beer,
both?
Stevie.
I'm just saying.
Why
Can't do
not?
both.
Why not? Let's ask Matt Marvin, our producer, if we can do both. This is an incredible view over here in the stadium section, though, guys.
I'm just concerned about all of the
There's quite a few fans that are in attendance just for practice today all around the racetrack with the seating in various corners. So that is awesome to see them coming in, full. I mean, obviously not full capacity right now, but for this many people being at the racetrack on a Friday in the grandstands, you don't see that at most NASCAR races on any given weekend. They're going to be most of the way packed, I'm sure, for the Xfinity race tomorrow, and damn near sold out, if not already, for the Cup race on Sunday. It's going to be a cool sight to see. I will say, being in Michigan last week, I thought the grandstands were packed. Probably the biggest capacity I think they've had there the last few years. Obviously, the weather held up, which was a big factor in that, them not racing on a Monday like they did in 2023 and 2024. We're about to get into NASCAR Sporkle Trivia now as we're in the middle of both of our practice sessions today. Practice number 2 will begin at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, about a half hour from now, but we're going to stay right here on the channel and do some NASCAR Sporkle to kind of pass the time between the two practice sessions. 50 minutes are up. We'll actually go through that leaderboard real quick here for practice number 1 first, and then we'll do the NASCAR Sporkle Trivia. Michael McDowell, fastest in this first session. I believe he put a second set of tires on towards the end of that session, ran a couple more laps, and that's where he had jumped ahead of Chase Briscoe, who was towards the top of the pylon for most of that 50 minutes. 94.024 was the lap time by McDowell, and an average lap speed of 92.657 miles per hour. He ran a total of 19 laps. That was over a tenth of a second quicker than Chase Briscoe's fastest lap, who has him second, Ty Gibbs third, Austin Cindric fourth, and Kyle Larson jumped up to fifth late in the session. Chris Buescher in sixth, Joey Logano seventh, Ross Chastain eighth, Shane Van Gisbergen in ninth, and Todd Gillen rounds out the top 10. Josh Berry in 11th, Daniel Suarez in 12th, Christopher Bell 13th, Ryan Preece 14th, and Kyle Busch 15th. 16th for Chase Elliott, Carson Hocevar 17th, Tyler Reddick 18th, Brad Keselowski 19th, and Riley Herbst 20th. Noah Gragson 21st, Ryan Blaney 22nd, William Byron 23rd, Bubba Wallace 24th, and Cole Custer 25th. Behind them in 26th, Zane Smith. Then 27th, Eric Jones. Jonathan Nemechek 28th, Alex Bowman 29th, and AJ Allmendinger 30th. Justin Haley 31st, Austin Dillon 32nd, Ty Dillon 33rd, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 34th, Cody Ware 35th, Ryan Truex subbing in for Denny Hamlin in 36th, and Catherine Legg 37th. So that rounds out the practice session order. Michael McDowell, again, quickest overall in practice number 1. 50 minutes of practice 2 will be coming up shortly. We'll take a quick break, and then NASCAR Sporkle Trivia on the way. I didn't even realize they had the Prime booth right in the stadium section of the racetrack. That's pretty cool. I mean, what better area to have it than right there? Which I'm sure it'll be stationed all weekend long. Hard to believe we only got 2 races left on Amazon Prime Video already, this week and next week. Let's go NASCAR Sporkle and see what we can do. I think we got to do some sort of a road course quiz, which I don't think we've done a road course one yet this year. Driver to finish top 5. So we got to get our thinking caps on. You can play along in the chat. I will use you guys as much as I can if I need help. And I think we're going to do this first quiz here, NASCAR road courses in the Cup Series. So from 1996 to 2010, we have to name the top 5 finishers. So anybody who's finished top 5 on a road course between the years of 1996 and 2010. So it's all going to be Watkins Glen and Sonoma. And because this isn't too up to date, considering it stops in 2010, it should be a bit difficult. Got a few years that were before I was born as well, so those could be potentially tough. We'll see if we can get through them. So we're gonna go through all the winners here first. Mark Martin's gonna pop up on this list. Excuse me. Jeff Gordon, Stewart won quite a few. Robbie Gordon. Oh, he would have popped up with Jeff Gordon. I was a little confused there. Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick, Montoya. Ambrose is on the list. Bush. It's going to be Kurt and Kyle. Hamlin, I would assume. Newman. Although he didn't win one. Earnhardt didn't win one, but he's going to be on the list. McMurray. He was usually pretty solid on the road courses. Edwards. Yeah, Carl Edwards. Biffle probably had a top 5. I would assume Kenseth also did. Oh, wow, Kenseth didn't have a top 5 from 96 to 2010. Sterling Marlin? There we go. Second in 2000 to Jeff Gordon at Sonoma. Ooh. Oh, Jerry Nadeau, that's right. He had a win. Or near win. Johnny Benson on here? Nope. Mike Skinner was actually very underrated on the road courses. Third in Watkins Glen, 1998. Ryan Vickers not on the list. Casey Mears. Yep, Casey Mears is on here. Bonnie, Rudd, pop on here a ton. Burton. All right, who else? Clint Boyer, yep. Another winner, Truex. I always forget that Clint Boyer won a race at Sonoma. You don't think of him as a road course guy. Darrell Waltrip, top 5 at Sonoma. Is there a Gann on here at all? Nope. Started in 96. Ernie Irvan? Ernie Irvan is not on the list either. Ron Fellows ever do it in the Cup side? Okay, Ron Fellows second in 1999 at the Glen. I know he never won a Cup race. Boris said Pappas on here? No, Pappas is not on here. Allmendinger. There we go. AJ. Scott Speed? No. What about Hornish? Hornish is not on here. Rusty Wallace definitely is. Yeah, Rusty. Yeah, 127 of 150, 3.5 minutes to go. Bodine. There we go. Did we get all the winners yet? Am I missing any? Okay, so we got all the winners in that time frame. 2009. Oh no, 2009 winner. Wasn't it Jimmy Johnson? Johnson didn't win that year. Oh, he won in 2010 at Sonoma. Okay. 2009. It'll come to me eventually. Kind of bothers me it hasn't already. Oh, that's Keselowski? No. No, he never won at Sonoma. Why can't I figure that out? Casey Kane. Ah, there we go. Thank you. Yeah, and he was also 4th in 2010. Casey Kane won that race. I was thinking it was Johnson in my head, but he won in 2010. All right. That was the one that Ambrose stumbled going up the S's on gas under caution. 2005, 5th, 4th. Scott Riggs on here at all? No, Scott Wimmer. Maybe 2 out of the box for those picks. Oh, wow, Bobby Hamilton was on the list. Runner up to Robbie Gordon in 03. All I remember is Robbie Gordon winning that race. I don't remember anything else. Oh, wow, okay. I got Jeff Green on the list. It's a shot in the dark. Runner up to Kyle Busch in 2008. Jeremy Mayfield on the list at all? Okay. About Elliott Sadler. Oh. Jarrett was 5th in 05. Gilliland. David Gilliland was runner up in 2008 behind Kyle Busch. Wow, what a poll that was. Because I don't remember that one bit. I tried Vickers already. He wasn't on the list. Craven. No. Oh, man. Who was runner up to Robbie Gordon in 03? Yeah, for the life of me, I don't remember. Schrader. He was good on the road courses. But he didn't get a top 5 in the years that we had. Jimmy Spencer's on the list. Got 141 of 150. I do have Ricky Rudd already. Yeah, that's it. Who finished runner up to Robbie Gordon? Scott Pruitt. Oh my goodness. I don't think I would have ever came back to that. Wow. I would have never came back to that. Not only was Scott Pruitt a runner up in 2003, but he finished 3rd in 2004 at Sonoma, and then he was runner up. Scott Pruitt almost won a couple of cup races. And then he also finished 4th in 2005 at the Glen. 3 top 5s for Scott Pruitt. I don't remember that one bit. I'm not going to lie to you. I can remember him racing. I don't remember him competing for wins. 3 top 5s. 3 years in a row. Bill Elliott, 2003. Finished 4th. PJ Jones finished 4th. I would have never gotten that either. 2002 at Watkins Glen. PJ Jones finished 4th. That doesn't even sound real. Like, I just think of circa NASCAR 2002, and PJ Jones would never cross my mind. John Andretti, I maybe could have circled back to him. He finished 3rd in 98 at Sonoma. And then 3rd in 96 at Sonoma was Wally Dallenbach. Steve Park, that's right, he did win at Watkins. I thought I had all the winners. I missed him. Whoops. I actually didn't realize that I was missing a race winner still. I thought Casey Kane was the last one we needed. 94%. I don't think I would have gotten 100% though. I would have never came across PJ Jones and Scott Pruitt. Well, there you have it. It's our first quiz. We still got time to kill. We got 20 minutes until our second practice session begins. See if we got any more NASCAR road course quizzes that we can do. Because we did 96 to 2010, it'd be cool if they had like 2011 to now. Kind of get caught up on it, but see if they have any go just NASCAR Mexico and see if they have anything from when the Xfinity Series was here for a few years. Mexico City winners. Winners. There's only a few races here, so I don't want to do results. Oh boy, here we go. 12 minutes. How well do we know the NASCAR Busch Series of 2006? This is going to be a tough quiz, but it'll be a fun one. All right, so we have to name every driver who competed in or attempted to qualify. So we have guys who failed to qualify on this list as well. I was wondering why there's 46. So any driver who either raced in or failed to qualify. So who are the 46 drivers on the entry list for the 2006 Telcel Motorola 200 in Mexico City? That would have been, at the time, NASCAR Busch Series event, now NASCAR Xfinity Series. So that will be our quiz for today. Our second quiz specifically. All right, we really need to lock in on this one. It gives us the hometown, which is only going to help for some of them. Now, there's going to be a mix of Cup guys in here, but there shouldn't be too many Cup guys just because it was in Mexico, and obviously the Cup Series was not there that specific weekend. All right, see what we can do here. Or said, Ron Fellows, Pappas. Oh, Pappas was not in the race. Okay, let's see here. Carl Edwards. Who else? Marcus Ambrose? No, that was later on. Robbie Gordon. He was not in it. Oh my goodness. Kevin Harvick? Kevin Harvick was in it. Denny Hamlin. He was a rookie in the Cup Series at that time. JJ Yaley. Okay. Wisconsin Menard's 11 car was definitely Paul Menard. Las Vegas is definitely going to be a Busch. There's Kyle Busch. Joplin, Missouri was Jamie McMurray. Okay, so the hometowns are helping me out a little bit here. Was Nelson PK in NASCAR at that time? No. Allmendinger? Was not either. Scott Speed? No. Godzilla El Rizo, welcome to the stream. JTH, thanks for tuning in and playing along as well. Man. Striking out. Jason Leffler? Gilliland? No. David Reagan? Mark Martin in the race? Regan Smith. There we go. Golly. I don't think Justin Allgaier was there yet. We have a few drivers from Mexico City. Well, Scott Pruitt was on the last list, but he's not on this one. Dang it. Nemechek? No. Morgan Shepherd? No. I'm striking out bad. Rebel Soul, thanks for tuning in. Again, our quiz right now is who ran the Busch race at Mexico in 2006. David Stremme? Oh my gosh. I'm naming a bunch of Cup guys I know, but Green? David Green's on here. Sorensen. Yeah, Reed Sorensen is on the list. Casey Mears? Nope. Montoya? No. Because he was a rookie the next season in Cup, but he was not in this race. Michael McDowell? No. Michael Waltrip? If I could spell? Waltrip. Michael Waltrip was in there. Slim Boyer, right? Okay, yeah, he would have been not in the Cup Series full time yet. Kenny Wallace. There we go. 38. Did I try Leffler already? Gosh, who else drove that 38 car? The Great Clips. Casey Kane? Oh my gosh. Other than those two, who drove that car? It'll come to me eventually. Sadler, not on the list. Burton, not on the list. Oh my gosh. This is tough. I don't remember my Busch series from 2006. I'm not going to lie. Todd Cleaver. Oh, let's go. I got to think. Oh man, that'd be NASCAR 07, right? NASCAR 07. See, most of the guys that were in that series were Aaron Crocker. No. Oh my gosh. Joey Logano wasn't there yet. Neither was Keselowski. I'm putting him anyway. Earnhardt. No. What about Truex? Truex might have been in it. Of course he wasn't. Hank Parker. I spelled it wrong. See, the 90 car in the video games was Elliott Sadler, so I don't know who would have drove the 90 car in that race specifically. We got the top 5. The 00. See, that would have been MWR, but I can't think of who else. Who else drove that 00? David Rudiman? No. Oh my gosh. I tried McDowell and he wasn't on here. It's getting a bit frustrating. This is tough. Striking out. Bernie Lamar. I'm a little quiet because I'm really trying to think. Dennis Setzer is not on the list. Sprague. What about Mike Bliss? No, Mike Bliss isn't even on here. Golly. This is tough. You know it's tough when the chat hasn't put up many names either. I tried Leffler. I'm trying to think of the other guy that drove that Great Clips 38 car. Because all I can remember is Casey Kane and Jason Leffler. There was definitely somebody else that drove that car that is like in my mind, and I can't pull it out of me. Try John Andretti. All right, John Andretti's on here. Long? Carl Long's not on the list. Stephen Light. I think this is before his time. Yeah, this is before his time. Same for like Ryan Reed and those guys. I wasn't really watching the Busch series at this time, so I'm trying to remember from the NASCAR video games around those times. And I'm stumped right now. Like the 88 US Navy car, Winchester, Virginia. Who would have been in that car? Was Hornaday in this race? Hornaday was not in the race. I think I already tried some of these guys. Remember more truck guys from... Oh, Terry Cook is on here. I can't believe that worked. Tim Fedowa? No, Tim Fedowa was not on here. Tommy Houston. Oh my gosh, Tommy Ellis. No. No, no, no. Labonte. I didn't try him yet. I'm doing a bunch of cup guys, I know, but... I don't know any of the guys from Mexico City that were in this race. David Starr. He's not on here either. Dang it. That was a good poll by Frank Powers in the chat. Before Kligerman, I got 20 of 46. Josh Wise was before him. This is unbelievable. Yeah, that was before him. Throwing out names that I know aren't on here just for the hell of it. Randy LaJoy was probably... Okay, he was still around. Okay. Ornish. Frank Kitty did some NASCAR stuff, but not in 06. Yeah, I already put him. Tony Raines? Oh my gosh. This has got to be the hardest quiz I've done. 2006 Busch Series at Mexico. Like the Kingsford 59, it's like, how is that not Ambrose? Who else is it? Oh my gosh. It's driving me nuts. I see the numbers and the sponsors on some of these cars, and it's not the right guys. Like the Great Clips 38. Hockley, Texas. I have no clue. Chad Newman. Jason Keller. Oh, okay, I got one. Wimmer. Scott Wimmer. Scott Riggs. I got two more. Hamilton. Oh, thought I was going to have another one. Johnny Sauter. Gosh darn it. Johnny Sauter was in the MWR 00. What? I mean, I probably could have circled around to his name at some point. I do not remember Johnny Sauter ever racing for Michael Waltrip Racing. Mark Goosens was in the 90, not Elliott Sadler. Adrian Fernandez was in this race. I had no idea. IndyCar. Adrian Fernandez. That's pretty cool. He never would have crossed my mind. I didn't know where he was. I didn't know he was from Mexico City specifically. Carlos Contreras, also from Mexico City. Same with Jorge Guters. Probably didn't say his last name correctly. Mike McFarland. No idea. He was in the 88 U.S. Navy car. Ashton Lewis. I remember that name. That was NASCAR Thunder 2004, I believe. Ashton Lewis. I haven't heard that in a minute. Foyt was in the 38. AJ Foyt, what is that, the fourth? IV, Roman numeral, the fourth. Another IndyCar guy from around that time, just like Adrian Fernandez. I had no idea AJ Foyt fourth was in the 38 car I would have never circled around to it. Because I put Leffler and he wasn't it. And then I tried. There are so many IndyCar guys that were in this race. Paul Tracy was in the number 4 Geico. I saw that card. I'm like, oh, Mike Wallace. Wasn't Mike Wallace. Jimmy Morales, also from Mexico City, was in the race. Michael Jordan Jr. There were at least 5 drivers from Mexico City. Rogelio Lopez, Tim Sauter. See, if I would have just put Sauter, I would have got Tim, Jay, and Johnny. Danny O'Quinn Jr., I should have remembered that. John Wood, the 47, I should have tried that. Aaron Fike. Joel Kaufman, no idea. No idea. Carlos Pardo, also from Mexico City. Stacy Compton was in the 59, not Marcus Ambrose that day. Probably why the car finished last. Stan Silva Jr. And yeah, that's it. That was all of them. We did not get the average score. 50% out of 64. That is the very first quiz all season that we have not gotten the average score on. That was definitely the toughest quiz. I was striking out on so many names. At first, it's because I had a lot more Cup guys than what were in the race, which I could have kind of figured that already with it being a standalone Busch event at the time. Paul Tracy ran the, yeah, I guess Paul Tracy was, I don't remember that. He was in the number 4 Geico car. It's the only Geico car I ever remember running in the Busch series is Mike Wallace. But there were so many road course ringers, way more road course ringers than I ever thought were in this race. But I guess with it being, you know, an out-of-country lower series race, they didn't have Cup guys that could travel, so that's where AJ Foyt comes in to drive the 38. What? I don't think I ever watched this race, to be completely honest. I've probably seen the highlights of it. Like I said, I didn't really watch the Busch or Truck Series much growing up. I really didn't start to get into it around like the late 2010s, maybe late 2000s, early 2010s. So this was just a little bit before when I started watching all 3 series. I was definitely watching Cup at this time, but that was tough. It was very, very tough. Somebody in the chat put Johnny Sauter. I don't know if that was before or after the quiz. I definitely don't remember him running for Michael Waltrip Racing at all. Went through so many Truck Series guys and for some reason didn't circle around to him yet. We're just a few minutes away from practice number 2, starting for the NASCAR Cup Series. So we'll do one more quick quiz as drivers are just getting into the cars right now. And this will probably go a couple minutes into the current practice session. And then we'll update the leaderboard and get you back onto our regularly scheduled programming. Let's go NASCAR road course. That was a tough quiz. Both of them kind of were, but that was so tough for me. All-time road course wins NASCAR Cup Series. Oh boy. All right, well, here we go. 69. Is this up to date? 2025. Let's go. May 13th. So that counts COTA this year. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Here's what we were looking for. Our last quiz, and then we'll get back into practice number 2, as that will be beginning here shortly. Any driver who has ever won a road course race in the NASCAR Cup Series from the Riverside days up until this year. So Tyler Reddick is on here. Chase Elliott with Bill Elliott, both on here. Blaney at the Roval. SVG, can I just put, okay, Van Gisbergen. So it doesn't count Chicago then? So Alex Bowman's not going to be on here either? Oh, it did give me SVG. Okay. I didn't see that. Chastain. Coda. Montoya. think McMurray. Yeah, McMurray didn't win one. William Byron, Christopher Bell, Jeff Gordon, Stewart, Steve Park. Nadu didn't win. Yeah, Nadu did not win. Okay, Jimmy Johnson, Ambrose, Keselowski, Kessel. Did he not win at... Brad didn't win at Watkins Glen? I thought he did. Okay. Denny Hamlin. No, he's not on here. Ace Kane. Harvick. Robbie Gordon would have came up with Jeff Gordon. Ricky Rudd. Bush. Kurt and Kyle. Gary Gant is not on the list. Okay, never mind. Ernie Irvin. Bobby and Davey Allison. Mark Martin. $27. Rusty Wallace. Gives us the driver numbers for these. Michael McDowell. Busher. Chris Busher. Allmendinger. Did I put Logano yet? I did not. Okay, now I did. Edwards. Kenseth never won one. Dale Jr. never won one. Biffle did not win one. I did put Park. Yep, Steve Park at Watkins Glen. I did get him already. Burton never? No. Labani. I could spell. There we go. Terry Labani had two of them. Darrell Waltrip. Kelly Yarborough. Petty. Richard and Kyle and Lee. Tiny Lund. No. Roberts. Fireball Roberts is on the list. Weatherly. No. Foyt. AJ Foyt. And Mario Andretti's probably on here too. Okay, he is not. Mario Andretti is not on the list. AJ Foyt. 1. Dale Sr. had 1. Truex. Boyer. Cindric didn't win one. It says the number 2 1 win. I tried. Is Brad Keselowski not on the list? Chat's got to help me. I swear Brad Keselowski won at Watkins Glen before. And I already have Rusty Wallace, so who else won in the number 2? Oh, Kurt Busch. Oh, I already got him. Oh, who else won in the number 2 that isn't those 3 drivers? Rusty Wallace, Kurt Busch, Brad Keselowski. Cindric didn't win one. Yeah, he didn't win on a road course yet. He got 2 super speedways and a gateway win. That bothers me. Wood Brothers, 21. Dave Marcus, I know, is on the list. No, he's not. I saw the 72. That's Bobby Isaac. No, it's not. Pete Hamilton's not on the list either. I do have AJ. Suarez. Wow, Daniel Suarez. That would have been bad if I forgot about him. Ryan Blaney, by the way, quickest in practice right now. Practice number 2. Larson. Oh my goodness. He's got 6 of them already. All right, not put Kyle Larson yet. Tim Richmond, yes. Yes, Tim Richmond. Marvin Panch. Ooh. That was the other Wood Brothers, 21. Roberts, Weatherly, Benny Parsons. Four wins in the number 6, between the 6 and the 21. I got Montoya already. See, the number 6 that isn't Mark Martin, that's tough. The number 3 that isn't Dale Earnhardt is also tough. Oh, man. I already tried him. It's getting tough. I maybe skipped. Number 96W. That's definitely back in the 50s. Herb Thomas? No. Need some help on some names from the 50s and 60s. Number 300, 300A. 15 had 3 wins. Oh, yeah, Jeff Bodine. Okay. We get all the Hendrick guys yet? I would think we did. I do have Ricky Rudd already. The 5 wins and the number 28 is also the 121 car. So it's got to be somebody from the 50s. 50s and 60s again. I got Fireball Roberts, Marvin Panch, Joe Weatherly. Who else? I tried Lund. He wasn't on here. Herb Thomas was not on the list. Tried Unick. He wasn't on the list. Was there some other open wheel guys like Parnelli Jones? Oh my gosh! Parnelli had 2 of them. Who else are some open wheel guys from that time? I cannot believe I got Parnelli Jones on that. Oh, wow. Oh, man. You got 15 minutes. I don't know why I didn't have the Baker on there. Buck Baker. Buddy Baker did not win on road course. Buck Baker did. So many 1 wins. I don't think Nemechek ever. No. Skinner, but it wasn't a points paying race, so no. Oh man. See, now I'm starting to think of just some like open wheel guys from like Gordon Johncock. But that's more 80s, so I don't think that that's going to pop up on the list. Is any Formula One guys from like the 50s that might have. There's got to be more of them other than just AJ Foyt and Parnelli Jones. Start putting in some generic last names here and see if anybody pops up. I try Smith yet? Haha, Jack Smith, let's go. And Bobby Johns wasn't on the list. Okay. Leroy Yarborough is not on the list. I didn't put him yet. Pearson. Oh my gosh. David Pearson. Thought I had all the Wood Brothers guys. That would have been a terrible one to miss. There's still somebody that has 5 wins on road course, but it's the 121 car. Like, I don't know who else are guys on the all-time wins list from like the 50. Jarrett. Oh man, Ned Jarrett was not on here. Who are some other guys that have won a bunch of races? Flock? Tim Flock. That was the 300 and 300A. The 28 and number 121. 5 wins. Still got 12 minutes. 14 names to go. The number 1. McMurray. Park only had 1. I swear I put him already. Yeah, okay. One win and the number 4 is on here twice. Well, I don't think I'm missing anybody from now. I do have Chastain already. I've got Petty, Kyle Lee, and Richard. Did Unser ever? No. I know he competed. Unser is not on the list. He's trying those open wheel guys. Mears isn't on there. It worked for a couple of them. Dan Gurney's another. Yeah, he's got to be on the list. Dan Gurney's got 5 wins. There we go. Hopefully he didn't Google it. STO Mark coming in clutch. Bill Rexford. No. Oh, hang on. No. Rexford isn't on here. Unless you're thinking of somebody else. Dan Gurney won at Riverside. All 5 of them at Riverside? But yeah, that was another one of those open wheel guys, though, from the 50s and 60s, so there's a few of them on here. And now Gurney. Mario Andretti wasn't on here, though. That surprises me. He's won several NASCAR races, including the Daytona 500, but he never won any road races. Maybe he didn't compete in enough of them. From SoCal. Okay, well, there you go. I'm glad to know you didn't cheat. That's great. Bobby Isaac wasn't on here. I find that hard to believe. Oh, jeez. I got Rusty on here. Rusty Wallace. 2 wins in the number 6. Bob Wellborn now. 7 minutes to go on the quiz. Group 2 practice is ongoing as well. Todd Gillen currently the fastest on the speed charts. We were listening into the Group 1 practice session. We'll listen into Group 2 a little bit more after the quiz, before they go off the air. '44 car. That was Terry. Terry Labonte won 2 of them in the 44. And I do have Labonte already. Yeah, Pete Hamilton wasn't on the list. I'm stumped. Mark Donahue. There we go. There's another open wheeler. Oh, he's not on here. I think that's how you spell it. I'll Google it just to make sure. Mark Donahue. Dono Hugh. There we go. He had 1. The number 16 car. There's another 1 win in the number 16, which you would think that that's another open wheeler, right? STL Mark coming in clutch in the chat right now. Childress never won a race, yeah. And the number 3, we've got Dale Earnhardt already. He had 1. There's another number 3. There's 2 of them with the number 4. 1 win apiece for both drivers. I don't really think the numbers are to any help of me. The number 2 still bothers me because I swear Brad Keselowski had a win at Watkins Glen. He definitely competed for a few of them. But he wasn't on the list. Yeah, I definitely know of the name Donahue. It was what five open wheelers we've got on here now. There's probably more. A lot of them former Indy 500 winners too. That's why I'm trying to think back, but I only know so many of them from that time period, and pretty much all of them we've covered. I'm stumped. 3.5 minutes. Still got 12 names. 12 different drivers. I just put Brad. I don't believe that Keselowski didn't win on a road course. I know he's not a good road course racer, but he competed at Watkins Glen there for a few years in the early 2010s. I thought he got one of them. IndyCar, NASCAR, yeah. I mean, especially in that time. I mean, that was just like the greatest drivers in the world running anything that they possibly could. Do we give up? I mean, we've got 250 on the clock, but I don't think I can get any more. I haven't gotten a single one myself here the last couple of minutes. Rob Moroso is not on the list. I think that was only with the Xfinity series that Moroso won. Linder? Oh man. No. I thought I had a sneak pick there. Not gonna lie. Fred Lorenzen, I didn't put him yet. Lorenzen. Did he not win one? Hold on a second here. Fred Lorenzen. Yeah, I spelled that right the first time. Lorenzen. Wow. I thought I stole one. The wall was it on there? I'm still stumped. I already got Foyt. No road course wins in Cup. I want to know who that number 2 is. It's looking at me funny. Yeah, I'm stumped. I think we got to give up. I only had 18 seconds left anyway. Ray Elder, Marshall Teague, Paul Goldsmith, Eddie Gray, Al Keller. I don't know if I would have. Harold Kite. Cotton Owens is another one of those early NASCAR names that I probably could have circled around to. Rex White, former NASCAR champion. Daryl Derringer. Lloyd Dane. I don't know who that is. I'm not going to lie. Billy Wade, Bill Blair. Yeah, I mean, honestly, maybe Cotton Owens and Rex White. Other than that, I don't think I would have circled around to any of these other guys if I had endless time. But some of them are names I remember from when we did the all-time NASCAR Cup Series wins. like Paul Goldsmith, obviously, and Marshall T. I definitely remember seeing some of those names on there. Geringer, Elder. But those aren't names I'm gonna remember for future quizzes. So 83%, 62% was the average score, so we did get above average. It was still easier than the quiz we did before that. All right, NASCAR Cup Series practice number 2 is ongoing at the moment. Actually, it has just wrapped up while we were finishing off that last quiz. So let me refresh the page here as cars are pulling back onto pit road. Second session was only 25 minutes. It was not 50 minutes like the first session, so it kind of came and went pretty quickly. Todd Gillen was actually fastest in the second session. Ross Chastain second. Ty Gibbs top 3 in both practices with a third place in practice number 2. Ryan Blaney fourth. Chris Buescher top 5 in both practice sessions today as well in 5th here in number 2. Ryan Preece was 6th. Austin Cindric 10th. He showed top 10 speed in both practices. Same for Gillen, who was top time in round 2. Daniel Suarez was right around the top 10, 9th here. Logano was 8th. SVG back half of the top 10 in both, but not all the way to the top of the leaderboard, but he was 7th, I believe, in session 1, 10th in session 2. And then everybody else from 11th on back here in session number 2 of practice. Christopher Bell was 11th. Chase Elliott 12th. Brad Keselowski 13th. Chase Briscoe 14th. Josh Berry 15th. William Byron 16th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in 17th. Bubba Wallace 18th. Kyle Larson 19th. Austin Dillon 20th. AJ Allmendinger 21st. Eric Jones 22nd. 23rd for Zane Smith. Cole Custer 24th. Michael McDowell was fastest in session 1. 25th in session 2. So probably tried some obscure adjustments there that did not go his way if I had to guess. No reason why he should have had that much fall off from one round to the next. Alex Bowman 26th, and Riley Herbst 27th, Kyle Busch 28th, Carson Hocevar 29th, and Ty Dillon 30th, Justin Haley 31st, Tyler Reddick in 32nd. It's just surprising with how good he is with this next-gen car on road courses. John Nemechek 33rd, Cody Ware 34th, Ryan Truex 35th, Catherine Legg 36th. Out of the 37. There's one driver that did not participate in session number 2. And as I'm looking at the list here, I don't know who it is off the top of my head, but there was one driver that didn't make a lap in round 2. So again, fastest practice times. Michael McDowell was fastest in round 1. Practice number 2, Todd Gilliland. So maybe we see an upset winner for Sunday. We'll have to wait and see. Cup Series qualifying is going to be tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. So this is going to be about the end of the stream for today. We'll be live for Cup Series qualifying, and it will be group qualifying, just one round continuously. And following that, we'll have NASCAR Xfinity Series race coverage at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, so double header on the channel for tomorrow afternoon. And NASCAR Cup Series racing will begin later on tomorrow evening. Sunday evening at 2:30 p.m. Eastern with our pre-race coverage. So 3 more live commentary streams for the weekend, and I will be live for, obviously, the rest of the action ongoing to Mexico City. Prime Video's coverage is ended, and there's really nothing else for me to have to cover here on the speed chart side of things. Fastest 5-lap average was actually Ty Gibbs in that second session. Christopher Bell had the fastest 10-lap average. So that is noteworthy. And then we know SVG, actually, I don't know if the lap averages are only from the second session or not, because they're the same. Chris Buescher had the fastest 15-lap average. I don't know if that's only session 2 or both sessions combined. But we do know for a fact it was McDowell and Gilliland who were the 2 fastest in both practices today. Again, practice 1 was 50 minutes and then 25 minutes in practice number 2. I think that is going to end today's live commentary stream on the channel. And I will see you guys tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. We'll do more NASCAR trivia in the pre-race of the Cup Series stream on Sunday. But as far as tomorrow goes, we'll get to see who sets the pole for the Cup race. And we get to see a pretty good Xfinity race ongoing. I'm sure we'll have some great racing here in Mexico City this weekend. We have had some great races here in the past when the then Busch Series, now Xfinity Series, had ran in the mid-2000s. So we'll see what's in store for this weekend. Thanks for tuning in here on this Fast Friday live commentary coverage on KRC. Have a good rest of your Friday night, everybody.